Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa, he is Sascha Segan, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to break down the top tech news of the day, answer one of your reader questions, and then show you one very cool thing that we pulled off the shelf in the lab. Sascha, let's get to the top story of the day. Android Wear officially launches today. Android Wear, of course, allows you to use Android apps on your wearable smartwatch, if it is compliant. And today, 33 Android Wear compatible applications are available in Google Play.
And what's interesting about Android Wear, this being a core part of Google's Android platform, is that these aren't separate apps. It's not like with the older Samsung watches or Pebble watches where you have to load an extra app onto your watch. This just enables an Android Wear function in an existing phone app, and pow, the app will send notifications to your watch, it will send information to your watch, it will collect information from your watch, etc., etc. 33
apps is a pretty good start, including Pinterest, IFTT, Runtastic, Lyft. American Airlines has an app on.
Delta Airlines.
My airline.
Well, yeah.
I put in American because I'm an American guy, and you put in Delta because you're a Delta guy.
You see what happens.
See, this is how the press gets manipulated for people. You're going to need Google Play 5.0, but that's available now as well, and it's really a pretty turnkey process.
Yeah, we're going to have the reviews of various Android Wear watches coming out throughout the week, and you'll be able to see how this new platform really fits in the emerging world of smartwatches.
Probably now that most of us are used to turning off our devices while we're in flight, now the TSA wants people to turn on their devices who are flying into the United States, and if you cannot turn on your device, you may not be able to get on that plane.
Hey, it's security theater! Because obviously this is going to scare the terrorists and prevent things from happening like all the other forms of ridiculous security theater that our TSA performs, that various other equally secure other nations do not perform. That was a run-on sentence that led nowhere, but it leads nowhere just like the TSA security policies.
It's going to be primarily at airports in Europe, in the Middle East, for direct flights to the United States. And it's going to apply to the laptops, it's going to apply to phones. You're going to have to be able to turn them on. If your battery is dead, they may take that device.
The Department of Homeland Incoherent Fear says that they are afraid of fighters from Syria with European or US passports using new explosive technology, which they would then load into phones that would look like Samsung Galaxy phones or iPhones. And is any of this true? Do we trust the people who are saying this? Well, you can kind of tell my opinion.
I'm going to tell you, powering on the screen is not that hard to do if you're already building this whole device. This is not a great idea. Finally, on a much lighter note, a very encouraging note, a space probe that was launched in 1978 has powered up its engines for the first time since 1987. That's right, the space probe formerly known as the International Sun-Earth Explorer 3, which has now been renamed International Cometary Explorer, is awake.
Yes, and this was crowdsourced. They raised $159,000 on RocketHub, which of course made me ask the question, is RocketHub a crowdsourcing hub for rockets, or was this the first rocket crowdsourced through RocketHub?
It is the latter.
Okay. But this was an amazing project because the private team, which included one of the original engineers on the project, who is now 82, had to essentially redevelop and revive the 1978 hardware and software used to communicate with this spacecraft. They established initial communication in May, and they finally fired the thrusters last week.
Yeah, and they've got, there's no local storage on the space probe, so they actually have to send commands one at a time, have them see if they execute, and before they send the next command. So it's a long, arduous process. The clock is ticking. They've got about 3 weeks before they're going to be outside of the moon's gravity, and they'll lose the probe entirely.
Yeah, they're checking this. They're checking the instruments right now. It looks like the magnetometer is still working, and they're going to start doing experiments.
You can read more about those stories on PCMag.com. Let's get to a reader question now. We take questions on Facebook, on a YouTube comment section, and via Twitter, also via email. Francisco asked via Facebook, how does he get Cortana? It sounds really cool. Everybody wants it.
Yeah, now this was actually a World Cup related question because Microsoft's virtual assistant Cortana has been busily predicting the outcome of almost all of the World Cup games. She has this amazing record at this point. Cortana is, at the moment, exclusive to Microsoft Windows Phone 8 devices. So if you want to use Cortana with her personality and her voice and her uncanny prediction capabilities for football games, you need to go and get a Windows Phone 8 device. There are rumors out there that Microsoft may be bringing it to Windows 8 desktops, and further rumors that Microsoft is debating bringing it to iOS and Android, but none of that stuff is confirmed yet.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason why they wouldn't. I think it's going to eventually happen. The question is when, and I don't know that it'll happen anytime soon, but I mean, you need to have a voice input, a voice command system, a voice assistant for all of your computing devices. There's no reason why it should be locked in the phone.
Well, the question is, they're almost certainly going to bring it to Windows 8 desktops. The question is whether they would bring it to other phone platforms or leave it as a differentiator for Windows Phone.
Indeed. Let's move on to one cool thing. Every year we test thousands of products here in our lab in New York City. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live. Today that thing is the LG G Watch, one of the Android Wear compatible devices we talked about at the top of the program. And this is really the first batch. We've gotten 2 of them into the labs. This one, the review is just going to pub probably later today. And we literally just got our hands on it. And it's a pretty impressive device.
Yeah, I've got some spam on my G Watch here that I'm showing you. The G Watch has a 1.65-inch 280 by 280 IPS LCD display. It's running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor. It has probably between 1 and 2 days of battery life. You want to pop it in the magnetic charger when you go to bed. And it connects to all of those Android Wear apps. So out of the box, the coolest feature is probably the voice activation. You can say, "Okay, Google, when is the next World Cup game?"
$229 pairs with your Android phone. You do need to have an Android phone in order to use these devices.
Yes,
yes.
yes.
They're not standalones. They're partners for your Android phone.
And the differences between this and the Samsung Gear Live are actually pretty subtle because Google is keeping very tight control over the Android Wear platform. So keep an eye on our reviews to see really which of the Android Wear watches we end up preferring.
And that's PCMag Live for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new show.